Alright guys, Merciless Vaughn here, back with another Bleach Brave Souls video. In this one we're going to be doing a versus video. This time it's going to be between the Halloween Ninny versus the Parasol Bruno. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, please leave a like. If you're new to the channel or you have been here for a while, please consider subscribing and help me get to 250 subscribers. I am making my way there. And with all that being said, let's go ahead and get started. First things first, I'm going to go ahead and take a look at the Ninny. I won't go into too much detail about this unit because I did in her initial showcase, but she is a mine, no affiliation unit with the Hollow Killer. I have 2 copies of her, so I will be showcasing her 2 out of 5 with these slots at level 10. Soul Trader strong attack, recharge time minus 12%. And some important things to know about this unit is she is a range unit with weakening and burn on her abilities. She has the gauge effect where when it's activated she gets 100% Berserker and Frenzy +1. Her innate skills are Sprinter +1, Long Stride, and Fire Resistance. She is able to start off the gauge with 70% and she is able to heal 30% of her health and gains 50% Spiritual Pressure boost when the gauge is activated. She has a devastation of 40%. She has a new skill, Gauge Rampage, which increases the amount of gauge you get per enemy defeated. She does have Havoc 20%, Frenzy +1, but when the gauge is activated, she can have Frenzy +2. And also, she does have Sharpshooter and Defibrillator +5 seconds. And yeah, that's pretty much just a quick overview of this character. We can go ahead and jump to the Bruno real quick. And as you can see here, the Bruno is a mine no affiliation unit with the Hollow Killer, but he also has the Espada Killer. He is also 2 out of 5 as well with the SP and Focus at level 10. And the Soul Trader strong attack, recharge time minus 12%. In the Bruno, he is a melee unit with only weakening on his abilities. He has the gauge effect which gives him 100% Berserker and also decreased damage taken 20%. He has Marauder, Sprinter +2, and Long Stride. He also starts missions with 70% of his gauge filled. He has a strong attack recharge time of 30%. He heals with his gauge 30% and has the Spiritual Pressure boost 50% when his gauge is activated. He also has Devastation 40%. He has Complete Status Immunity, Havoc 20%, Frenzy +2, Defibrillator +5 seconds. And yeah, that's a quick overview of him. The reason I wanted to do a video on these 2 because they're just somewhat similar, but they just have slightly different skills. As you can see here, they both have the Hollow Killer, but the Bruno has 2 killers, which is Espada, so he'll be doing increased damage to Espada enemies. Bruno, he's a melee unit. His gauge effect, he has the decreased damage taken 20%, and whereas the Ninny has Frenzy +1. They both have the Bruno, since he's a melee unit, he has Marauder. The Ninny, she's ranged, she has Sharpshooter. And another difference is that this Bruno has Sprinter +2, where the Ninny has Sprinter +1. They both start with a 70% gauge. They both heal with the gauge, and they also both have the Spiritual Pressure boost 50%. They both have Devastation 40%, but another difference is this Bruno comes with Complete Status Immunity, so you don't have to worry about the status elements that are on the ground. This Bruno has Frenzy +2, whereas the Ninny starts off with Frenzy +1 until she gets her gauge activated. Then she's also able to get Frenzy +2 as well. And did I forget anything? Let's double check. And oh yeah, the Bruno, he has the strong attack reduction 30% when his gauge is activated, while this Ninny doesn't. She just gets the heal and the 50% Spiritual Pressure boost. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And this Ninny does have the new Gauge Rampage, while the Bruno doesn't. So other than that, they are pretty much similar. The major difference is that he's heart, she's mind. He stays with Frenzy +2 without his gauge being activated. She gets his while her gauge is activated. He's able to do more with his gauge once it's activated. He gets that 30% cooldown reduction, while the Ninny just heals and get the spiritual pressure boost. And yeah, she has 2 status elements on her abilities. She has range, she has sharpshooter, while the Bruno only has weakening, he's melee, and he has marauder. Alright, so we talked about some similarities and some differences. Now as for the accessories and links that I'm going to be using for this showcase, are going to be the Kamari, Fortification Pill, Atakuron, and as for these links here, going to be the Psychomon Chad, Senses and Getsu, and the Toshiro. And as for the bonus abilities, we have full stamina damage boost and weakened defense. You don't have to give her weakened defense if you don't want to. You can put something else here, maybe damage to one of her status elements. I just put weakened defense right here because I use her in epic rage sometimes. And as for the Bruno, the accessories will be the same, but just for heart attribute units. The Kamari, Fortification Pill, Katakura. And as for the links, it's going to be the Psychomon Chad, the Toshiro, and the Halibel. And the bonus abilities are full stamina damage boost, and I put weakened defense on this, damage to weakened enemies on this Bruno. You don't have to give this to him if you don't want to. It's just a random skill I decided to put on. And another advantage that this Bruno has over the Ninny is that with these full stamina links, he's able to get to 105% full stamina damage boost, whereas the Ninny's is, I believe it's only 86% full stamina damage boost. So the Bruno does have a higher full stamina damage boost other than the Ninny. And so yeah, that's it for the skills, accessories, similarities, and differences. Let's just go ahead and take them into IT to see what they can do. Alright, so we're gonna go ahead and start off with the Bruno. And as you can see here, if I step into this paralysis pool, he's not going to get immune or any other status elements for that matter, because he's immune to all of them. And since he started off with that 70% gauge, we already have our gauge effect activated, which is great. So now we have 100% Berserker and take 20% less damage when the gauge is activated. And also that Christmas Ninny and Saply CN are here just to give me extra pots. They aren't increasing my damage in any way, shape, or form. And yeah, I need all the pots I can get. And if you really want to see what these characters can do, take them into a co-op IT. You know, just characters that are releasing nowadays are just really too strong for a solo IT, so just go ahead and take them to a co-op one. The enemies there are a lot tankier and have a lot more health. Alright, we're in another run just to see if we can clear it a bit faster. Now for the heart attribute, they do have that Safui Kaname, which increases heart attribute characters' movement speed by 30% and increase their strong attack damage by 20%. So this Bruno does have a pretty good support unit if you are taking him into a co-op IT or any other heart content that you want to will take him in. And so yeah, if you have him in your party, you'll move 30% faster and your strong attacks will do 20% more damage. So it'd be good to have him. He's also a super link slot potion unit, so you probably would more than likely have him in a co-op IT. Yeah, the Bruno strong attacks aren't that bad either. They're okay. Yeah, see, these single player ICs just really aren't cutting it, so you just really want to take them into a co-op one. And here's a soul bomb, and this time it won't take damage. Alright, so here we are with the Ninny showcase, and due to some circumstances I had to record her part for the video at a different time, and so the IT units did change, and it is a rankers this time around, but it doesn't matter because she still won't have killer. And now that we have the full gauge, if we do another strong attack, we now have Frenzy +2. And we will have Frenzy +2 while the duration of this gauge effect is activated. And the more enemies we defeat, the more our gauge refills. And you don't really need to use strong attacks, you can just use your mastering ability just to fill the gauge, and you don't really have to hit anything either. So if you're closer to gauge, you can just probably do a couple of Nash strings just to get it there, then use a strong attack to activate it. And here's our soul bomb.
もうなんで私があ覚悟しなさい驚いた
And here we are with the last run for this video. I forgot to mention last time that Balgo and Okira that are right there, they're not really increasing her damage in any way, shape, or form. They're just giving me extra super pots because I need all the pots I can get. I took damage, took more damage, taking too much damage. But it doesn't matter, I'll be able to heal off of that damage that I took back when I activate my gauge. And yeah, I don't have any much else to say about these units. I've already talked about them so much before in other videos. But yeah, see, we activated the gauge and we got our full stam back. And yeah, these are definitely some top tier hollow killer units. I know, well, for me, I don't have a lot of hollow killer units, so these units will help me out really well whenever I'm doing side command or going into IT. And also, there are both Burn the Witch characters, and those characters are pretty rare, so they're good to have. Took damage, but that's alright. If we activate our gauge, back at full stam.
もうなんで私があ覚悟しなさい驚いた
So that was a pretty short showcase of these units side by side. They both have their advantages and disadvantages. Overall, in my opinion, I think the Bruno is slightly better, just because he doesn't really need to activate his gauge just to get that full frenzy +2. He just automatically comes with it. He's completely immune to all status elements, and with the links that heart attribute characters have, he's able to get to a 105% full stamina damage boost. And I believe the new Momo that just came out in the recent banner is also a 30% full stam leak, so if you have her, you can throw her on here and that Holly Bell. And that's two 30% full stam links that you can have on this unit. Not to mention that he does have the strong attack recharge 30% when his gauge is activated, while the Ninny doesn't. And not to mention, he does have Sprinter +2 and Long Stride, so he will be moving across the map a lot more than that Ninny will. And so yeah, that's my opinion. You guys might think differently. If you do, then hey, maybe the Ninny's better. And yeah, that's really going to be it for this one. Hopefully you enjoyed, and thank you for watching. And as usual, until next time.